Hello friends, and welcome to yet another edition of English Screencasting. I, Stacey Poundsbury, will be your guide today as we go over the references page. So the references page can often be a source of frustration for many students or anyone else formatting an APA document, mainly because it requires a level of attention to detail that can get somewhat tedious. So I'm going to show you a couple of different ways that you can approach this problem. The first way that I'm going to show you is that you can use your computer to do a lot of the work for you. If you don't have a handbook or if you're not comfortable using the Purdue OWL, then you can actually use the database that you retrieved your articles from to cite your information. So all you would have to do is go to the article that you found, in this case, e-learning, research, and application, and click on Cite. This will give you a number of different methods to cite the information, but since we're talking about APA specifically, we're just going to go ahead and copy that citation and then paste it directly into the document. So as you can see, it's pasted in Times New Roman 12-point font, just like we want it to be. If for some reason it doesn't format correctly, you can go into paragraph, make sure your alignment's left, that it's body text, that your indentation's all set correctly, and that your indentation is hanging, because APA requires you to have hanging indentation for all of your citations. So once you check that formatting, you want to make sure that everything in the citation is correct, because although robots are good at some things, much better at some things than others, they aren't particularly good at paying attention to the tiny details that you need to pay attention to when you're citing your sources. So we see that we have the last name and the first initial of each of our authors, as we should. And then this is followed by the date of publication, which in this case is just the year 2000, and the title. Now when you're citing any article title, you want to make sure that only the first letter is capitalized. But you also want to make sure that the first letter of any subtitles are also capitalized. So here we have to capitalize the R in research. Then we're going to make sure that your journal title or your publication is italicized. And as you can see here, it is. And so is our volume number, as it should be. Our issue number, on the other hand, is not italicized, nor are our page numbers. Now this particular reference is actually missing a retrieved from clause. That makes it a much more correct reference. So as you can see, robots might be good for some things, but not for everything. Another way that you can cite is using citation machine. These kinds of machines are funded by advertisements, which can be a little distracting, but all in all, it's a good way to cite a source, mainly because it's free and it allows you to access an autofill mode or a manual entry mode. So I'm going to see if maybe it can find my article without making me fill in all the information manually. So as you can see, I didn't have a whole lot of luck for it finding my article, so I'm just going to go to manual entry mode. So here, all I would have to do is go back to my source and look at the information that was included there. So I'm going to go ahead and put it on my other screen so I can fill out all of these information boxes. So I have 3 authors, so I'm going to go ahead and put in those 3 different names. So my first name is Gunasekaran, first initial A. And then the second one is McNeil, Ronald D. I'm going to leave D out because I don't have a box for a middle name. And then Dennis Shaw. So I'm going to make sure I spelled all those correctly, especially this Gunasekaran. Yep. Before I come down and I put in my title. And then the title of the publication my volume number, issue number, and page numbers. And then it doesn't look like I have a DOI, so I'm just going to skip that box. So the origin, or how I accessed it, was from a database. I'm not quite sure what the database URL is, but I know that I got it from EBSCOhost. So I'm just going to go ahead and type that in. Published date is 2002, and I'm just going to say that I accessed it today, just to make things simpler. All right, so now I can create my citation. So as you can see, this is a much more complete reference than the one that we used previously from EBSCOhost, but it too has a couple of problems, not the least of which that it pasted all in bold. So here my first name is formatted incorrectly. It should be formatted like the one above it. And then down here, it seems like I put in the first name instead of the last name, so I put the information in the wrong box. So that means that I'm going to get the wrong information on my reference. So it's important to be really careful when you're filling in any of the boxes for the citation machine, because the computer is only going to do what you tell it to do. Now again, we have trouble with capitalization, but at least this time we have a more complete retrieved from phrase. So not too bad for a free citation machine. Now, if you're lucky enough to have a Pearson Writer access code, which I believe is available for $15, you can come in and use their Writer's Guide. And this is the guide that we've been using all along to look at different resources and work on our information research paper. So I'm going to show you how easy it is to cite using Pearson Writer. So here I'm going to type in my article title. Maybe I'll have better luck finding it on the Pearson site than I did with Citation Machine. And there it is. So let me just make sure that this is the right one. Yep, looks like my source. So now all I have to do is click Cite This. And look, it even found a DOI for me. So now I've created my citation, and there it is. Beautiful and complete. So as you can see, I can access a copy and paste version, which will let me copy and paste this right into my paper. And it keeps track of it for me in the Pearson Writer editor. So now all I have to do is copy and paste, and there it is. So of the three, I think I like that one the best because it has the DOI, which will make it easier for others to access my particular source. If you have any questions about how to cite using any of these tools or using a paper handbook, just let me know. I'd be more than happy to help.